From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your afternoon update.
Dennis's Heating and Air Conditioning is Northern California's premier heating and air conditioning contractor. From residential housing, large commercial projects, installation to repair, sheet metal fabrication, and everything in between, we are your go-to heating and air conditioning specialist.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just want to remind you that I've got a free app. You may or may not have heard about it. If it's the first time that you've heard about it, do me a favor. Head on out to your App Store on your iPhone or the Google Play Store on your Android and check out the app. I mean, this is just some of the images that you'll see from the app, but pretty much everything I offer here at Weather NorCal, you can get right from your phone. And it's all localized. And I've got my hands in that forecast that you see for all those numbers, even the ones that don't look like my maps, like this generic map here. That is coming from my forecast. That number is being generated from my forecast for this area. So be sure to check it out, and love to hear what you think about it. Maybe you give it 5 stars. Let's give some good reviews for it as well out there. All right, so here's a look at the cameras, and what a gorgeous week it has been for the North Coast. I was saying in one of my posts, we're getting some relief. We always forget about our neighbors on the coast because they typically have much cooler weather than the rest of us, right? So what happens is when we're dealing with the heat and it warms up for them, it's not a massive heat wave for them. They're actually enjoying it. So when I say there's some relief, sometimes the folks on the coast don't necessarily want that relief because it's been so pleasant out there. Take a look at Crescent City. I mean, just another gorgeous day out there. How about just north of Trinidad at Elk Country? Sunny skies. I mean, that's the way it's been pretty much all week long. Now, we take you out to the valley, and I want to show you here, we're not seeing a lot of wind. The last few days we've seen some of those gusty winds off and on. Now, they've subsided for today, but they may be picking up again over the next few days. So still a tad breezy out there. And unfortunately, as the winds pick up over the weekend, we'll also be looking at some elevated fire danger. We'll take a look at that here in a second. But it's cooler going into next week. But that cooler air is also the reason why we've got rain showers early next week as well. And you'll notice here as we look at the winds, again, not a problem today. This is 6 o'clock today. The wind's not a factor. Now, we take you into Saturday. Look what happens, especially as we go into the afternoon. You see how they're beginning to get a little bit stronger. Nothing terribly concerning. And then as we go into Sunday, actually, we'll call it a bit on the breezy, borderline windy side. You can start to see, especially in the valley and even in the mountains, we are seeing those stronger winds. But notice they're coming from the south. That is at least a little bit of a help. Typically with the north winds, it's more of a drying wind. South winds don't tend to be as bad. However, I want to show you the fire weather risk. This takes into account the winds, the temperature, and of course the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. Today, again, nothing to be concerned about. But look what happens as we go into Saturday, especially in the afternoon. We're seeing just a little bit of yellow popping up on the map, just some faint orange in there as well. So we're getting that elevated range. Now, take a look at this. As we go into Sunday, you saw those winds picking up on Sunday. As a result, we have slightly higher fire danger on Sunday. So this is one of those weekends where we just need to be conscious of the fact that the winds are going to be blowing a bit, and we need to make sure we do anything we can to help prevent those fires from starting. All right, so here's the big picture. Still that big ridge of high pressure. You see how the clouds are moving up and over that big ridge. That's the big dome of heat that's over us, and that's why we're seeing these above average temperatures. So again, there is that dome of heat, the warmer temperatures. So think of the jet stream as kind of a boundary between the cooler air to the north of it. So we see these troughs of low pressure, which are basically these pools of colder air that kind of hit down to the jet stream. And then to the south of the jet stream, those temperatures tend to warm up as you head to the south. So when you see these ridges, right, this is where you have the bubble of heat. Over here, you have those pools of cooler air. Now, what's going to happen is this will all shift eastward here as we go into the weekend, and that will allow our temperatures to start to drop. So that's the cooler air, right? But you see this little kind of spinning here, and these pieces of energy break off, and we've got one coming into Northern California by the time we do get into Monday and Tuesday. Temperatures drop as a result, but it's also going to be responsible for some of the rain that we'll see, which we'll get to here in a second. But watch what happens as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. We see this ridge of high pressure building in, so it warms up for Wednesday, Thursday, but we have another area of low pressure, some cooler air kind of coming in. Now, this is for Friday of next week. Now, one of the things I'm concerned about with that is, there's the annular eclipse that'll be going on. This could contribute to not only a chance for showers for some areas by the time we get into that next Saturday for the eclipse, but it could also mean more cloud cover. So we can only hope for the best that that doesn't actually pan out, because it'd be really nice to get just a clear view of that. All right, so now let's talk about the rain and, of course, the jet stream as well. So again, these troughs of low pressure is where you have the cooler air that we were talking about. Also, though, is the trough of low pressure, and especially on the east side of that trough is where we typically have the most amount of instability in the rain. But it's also kind of a river in the atmosphere, and it's typically the path that the storms take. So as these storms start kind of riding up here in the ridge of high pressure, they start to kind of break apart and die down. And same thing here, they kind of ride through the jet stream and then come on up, and then that's where typically the rain is going to be. All right, so let's take a look at all this shifting to the east. See the spin of low pressure, the cooler air, that's the first storm that we've got our eyes on. Now, as we go into Sunday, we're going to be fine. If you have outdoor plans, no need to worry about any rain, and really not even much in the way of cloud cover on top of that, with the exception of maybe along the coast here, as you can see there on Sunday. This storm will push through on Monday morning, hitting the coast first, and then through the day, it's going to hit the rest of Northern California. Now, look at this right here. This is going to get caught up in that flow and develop into its own storm, and then this will bring in more rain come Tuesday. So we've got a kind of a 1-2 punch, if you will. Monday, then Tuesday. Once that passes, as we go into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that ridge of high pressure builds in, it warms up. But remember, I was talking about that next storm coming in. You see there's a little bit of rain associated with it. Could bring us a little, this is Saturday, by the way. This is the day of, right here that we're looking at, of the annular eclipse. Notice the cloud cover. That's not what we want to see when we want to look up to the sky and check out the eclipse. So we'll have to kind of watch that closely, but right now the confidence is fairly high that everyone at least will see some form of rain when we combine Monday and Tuesday of next week. In fact, take a look at the rainfall totals through Wednesday night. Of course, most of the rain is going to be Monday, Tuesday, right? You can see the heaviest rainfall will be on the west, on the coast, right? And then this right here is kind of these little lighter shades of blue. That's the heavier rainfall. Then you start getting into the darker shades of blue and where there's really no shading at all, and you're looking at much less rainfall. So that's pretty typical with these types of systems. They tend to die out as they start heading eastward. Sometimes they can reestablish themselves and bring some decent rain to the eastern mountains, but that doesn't seem to be the case here with either of these two storms. And even the valley could pick up a little bit of rainfall as well. Now, don't take these totals to be exact. These are just estimates. It could be more, it could be less, just depending on where you are and how the storms end up shaping up, right? Here are your wave heights. Boy, what a great relief for anyone who does have to spend time out on the water, because the wave heights are dropping even more as we take you into your Saturday. So your marine forecast for today, west winds at 5 knots. There's your low tide. It was at 11:53 this morning, just before I started recording this, but the high tide will be at 5:56 this afternoon/evening at 6.3 feet. Your sunset tonight, and of course looking at your sunrise for tomorrow with no alerts out there, at least for the immediate coast. Here's a look at your forecast. New and improved map, backed by popular demand. So you'll notice a lot more towns on here. I wanted to do that because a lot of you were hoping that you could get a better glance at the picture. So here it all is. And it's a lot to take in. There are a lot of towns on here, right? A lot of communities. But the beauty of it is you know what you're looking for. So you know where your eyeball needs to go and see if your town is in there. So for example, Hoopa, I included Weed, I included Dunsmuir, Cottonwood, I included Corning in there. Let's see, who else is new on here? Portola, Lassen Park, I've included Fall River Mills. We take you out to Dooley Lake and Doris are up there. Happy Camp is new. Klamath, Trinidad, Fortuna, I believe I added in there as well, not to mention Willow Creek as well. Ruth is new. Trinity Center is new. I think I mentioned Dunsmuir. So yeah, a lot of new communities on here. Hopefully this is helpful for you. Now let's take a look at your 7-day outlook. Again, sunny skies, warmer, right? It's going to be another beautiful day today, right? But hot, especially for the valley. So there's your 7-day outlook for Mount Shasta. It's dry through Sunday. There's a chance for rain. Now, everyone, mountains, inland, coast, valley, everyone has a chance for rain Monday and Tuesday. So that's going to be the case here for everyone. It's just going to be the heaviest along the coast, and not to mention Trinity County. So there you can see for the valley, yeah, I've got the chance for showers in there, not to mention the cooler temperatures for Monday, Tuesday. And it dries out and starts to warm up a little bit here come Wednesday and Thursday. So there's the heavier rainfall for the coast for both Monday and Tuesday. We take a look at the inland areas, heavier rainfall there, but more in the way of showers and kind of off and on. And then for Weaverville, Trinity County, again, not as heavy. As you start getting farther and farther away from the coast itself, we do start to see at least the intensity of the rain begin to drop.